So what's a Grape Explorer talking about today? So if you've been following our videos, we are a champion of varietals that a lot of the consumers in the trade, and even the trade in some certain cases, don't pay attention to. Might be, just because it's just the market. There's just too many wines in the marketplace right now for us to really spend that time. So we really wanted to zoom in today on a really fascinating wine. And I always bring up the past, the present, and the future. We have a wine here. This is Cosimo Torino, and this wine is 100% Negroamaro, and is called Nota Parano. And this is from the area of Salento. So I'm going to show you guys on the map right here. So we've got Italy here. You got all the way down here is the heel, and Salento is down here. And this winery, Torino, is located in Lecce in this area right here. So this is prime area for, Primitivo, actually very famous here, Salice Salentino. But we're going to talk about this wine because a lot of people definitely don't spend the time on Negroamaro. And Negroamaro means black bitter. And, even though that name doesn't sound enchanting in tasting the wines, you don't see this grape. We talk about Italy having a lot of indigenous grapes that are existing here. These grapes were actually planted by the Greeks, and we're talking 700 BC. Makes sense, right? You got the Adriatic Sea right here. So, when the Greeks were settling this area here, they were bringing a lot of different grapes. And so this Negroamaro has quite an interesting history. But this grape never really leaves Italy, because guess what? This area is very conducive for this grape. There's a number of reasons why. Because of this peninsula here, you get a lot of the breezes from the Adriatic, so it actually grows in this area. But this is an interesting wine. I want to bring up again the past for me, because in the late 80s, I was a distributor in Florida, and I was representing Winebow Imports at the time. And at that time, it was owned by a very charming gentleman, Leonardo Locasio. Leonardo, to me, is what we say we champion the importers of Italy who bring us wine into the United States when they know it's going to be difficult to sell. Nobody's ever heard of these wines. And, you've got Tuscany, and of course you've got Piedmont up here, and everybody knows Barolo and Chiantis and all this, but nobody really knows these wines. So, I was out representing this producer in South Florida, and I went to an Italian guy one day, and I'm here to tell you that I told him about this wine, and he said, well, what part of Italy is it from? And I said, it's from Puglia, all the way to the south. And he said, well, that area is one of the worst areas in all of Italy for wine. And of course, I was kind of like taken aback. Of course, he was Italian, so he can say Chianti and Barolo are the best wines in Italy. But I was selling this wine here for about $8 a bottle wholesale. The wine actually hasn't changed much in price, which is fascinating, because today you can still buy this wine for under $25 a bottle. And guess what? If you look at the vintage, and I want you to zoom in a little bit so I can also give you some highlights, a little bit about this area, because Negroamaro is really only coming from Puglia, from this area. And Negro, Italian Latin word, means black. But Amaro, which is an interesting name too, because you see Amaro as a bitter drink. It's not really an Italian word. It's more of a Greek word. But so when you put these two together, you get this wine. But this wine is very, very interesting, because what they do is when they produce this wine, and they hold back the wine for 10 years in the bottle to age, which Puglia is one of the only places that actually they actually do this. And for a number of reasons, the wines aren't ready to drink when they're young, so they need that time. And all of the things that you would think about the wine, let's say negative things like the tannins and the acidity, and all of those things that usually show up in a young wine, for instance. When you taste a wine that's been aged in the bottle for 10 years, you get this kind of a wine. It's a Reserva, so they hold it back. Nobody does that. And especially for $25, $30 a bottle, whatever you're going to pay for this wine, this is considered one of the finest value wines in all of the world. That's why I wanted to share it, because again, I know this wine because I sold it, close to 30 years ago, and I thought, wow, This is an incredible bottle of wine. So when I saw this wine, I wanted to share my experiences with you. So when you smell this wine, you smell dried figs. You get all of those beautiful nuances in Italian wines that you really don't get out of wines in the world. So you get also a lot of cedar from the aging as well, but it really highlights the fruit because that fruit it's got plum and violets. I can smell flowers on this wine too, so it's a beautiful expression. You only get that when you age the wines to get these kind of wines, but this is a beautiful color. Look at this color. You know, it's like a ruby kind of red. It's not obviously dark, inky looking color, but at the same time, this is what happens when you age a wine. It turns these colors, and by all means, look at the legs on this wine. It just oozes down the glass. So this is what we call world-class wine. This is not a DOC. You know, this is you know, a wine that has its own designation. Of course, 100% Negroamaro. We want to show you a Hugh Johnson's map here, all the way down. Lecce is the largest city where Torino's located. But yeah, we're talking Salento, we're talking Puglia, and these are some of the best value wines in all of Italy. So let's taste this wine. Wow, that is serious wine. It's melted tannin. It's got beautiful acidity that is inside of the wine, not outside. So it's not acidic or sharp. It does have that salinity. Again, we always talk about areas close here, and think about the Greeks coming here, planting grapes. They knew what they were doing. So because this is a very, very arid, hot area for obvious reasons, all the way to the south of Italy here. So you get these Adriatic breezes that are coming here. You got Mediterranean influences here to keep the grapes at least in check a little bit here to allow to grow. But this is a beautiful bottle of wine that I wanted to share with everybody. Again, this is the Grape Explorer. We're always trying to bring great wines to the table, and we brought one here today. Cheers.